Good morning. Good morning, my beautiful friends. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. I am Maui Paul. We are here today to say some nice things about ourselves. Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday. It is indeed. We have made it through the week. We've made it through the week with thus far 4 empowering affirmations, and we are going to go through another one today. Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Brenda Jean. Good morning, Lauren. It is fantastic to see you guys here today. As always, yeah, just wonderful to join my friends and just be yeah together with you and say some good stuff about us. So yeah, the question of the week was what went well this week. Lauren says that she was able to have some good relaxing meal time now ready to face the weekend. Very good, Lauren. Dan says sign the lease for Stacy's mom in Suwannee. Coming back soon to outfit it and move her here by the end of February. And Dan, that is so amazing. You are just consolidating all of the responsibilities in your life, all the people that are important to you, and you're just kind of getting them all in one place, and more importantly, next to and close to your happy place. So I'm really excited. Brenda Jean is joining from the cold plunge tub, which is now facing southeast, so she can look at the sun. It is such a luxury, isn't it, Brenda Jean? I woke up this morning, the birds were chirping. I mean, yesterday was such a beautiful spring day. Everywhere I walked, the birds were just going off. And I realized what a luxury that is. What a luxury it is to be able to enjoy the sun, to enjoy the birds, to enjoy nature. It is absolutely fantastic to do that. And so, what went well this week for me? Well, I'm actually doing very, very well this week. I'm working on, my. Some people are aware of this, some people are not, but I actually have a marketing business that I have, and I was able to pick up another client this week. That's very exciting, and yeah, and not only that, but also the software that I use, the full stack marketing software that I use. I was able to have a meeting with the CTO of that software program this week, and I was able to discuss how they could better meet my needs. So that's really exciting. Very happy about that. Anyways, yeah. And Dan says back to the ATL life by the end of April. That is awesome. I'm so happy to hear it. Anyways, guys, yeah. Once again, what we are going to do today, I'm going to pull a card off the deck. I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on the card, and we are going to respond out loud together. I am that affirmation. We're going to build into our own lives today. We are going to say wonderful things about ourselves. And as we say these wonderful things about ourselves, we're going to begin to believe them. It doesn't matter if we don't believe them at first. Sometimes a card comes up, even I will think to myself, I'll be like, well, I'm not that. Not today, I'm not. Maybe I felt that way another day. Maybe I felt that way when I made the card, but man, I don't feel that way right now. And yeah, the magic of this deck is that by the end of the day, after having simply affirmed it, even if I didn't believe it entirely, after simply saying the words out loud, I look back at my day, I'm like, actually, that card manifests itself in my life. And so that's going to happen to us today. I'm going to go through an affirmation. We're going to affirm out loud that we are that affirmation, and then because this is Friday, I'm going to go back through the affirmations for the entire week, and we're going to just take a journey and see where we were at the beginning and where we've ended up. Good morning to you, Eric. It's good to see you here today. But let's begin by saying that today I am elevated. I am elevated. I ascend toward my highest potential. So I am elevated. I ascend toward my highest potential. Are you elevated? You are elevated. You ascend toward your highest potential. So I'm going to write that down in the comments, and I encourage you to do the same thing. So I ascend toward my highest potential. And isn't that what we are all doing in life? Aren't all of us working diligently every day toward being a better version of ourselves? Isn't that kind of the point? As we ascend toward our highest potential, as we are dedicated to being a better version of ourselves today than we were yesterday, as we are dedicated toward growth and development, as we do that, as we become the best versions of ourselves that we are capable of being, a rising tide lifts all ships. And so not only do we get to enjoy the benefits of that, the inner peace that comes from being more congruent with ourselves today than we were yesterday, but also we get to really lift up the people around us too. And what a wonderful joy that is. What a privilege it is to be able to be surrounded by people who are also ascending toward their highest potential. When I experience somebody else who is being um, who is really living in their own truth, who is being a living loudly and proudly and being the best version of themselves, it inspires me to do that as well. I recall that one of the first times that I ever had this thought was I was down in Costa Rica, and I was up on living on top of a mountain, and I was living up there alone. But some people had come up to visit me, and this was the first time that I had ever experienced people from numerous different backgrounds all just getting along. This was essentially this hippie farm down in Costa Rica, and all these people had come down, and they were essentially down there for a music festival. And there were some folks all around there who were in the process of were riding their motorcycles around the world. So they came up on their motorcycles, which were fully capable of going on road, off road, anywhere that those motorcycles wanted to go, and carrying these people's whole lives on there. There were some people who were actually had outfitted a bread truck, and they were driving a bread truck, what they called the long way round. The long way round is a 40,000-mile trip, the longest possible route to visit every single country on the planet that is capable of being visited. So there were just like a couple of countries that were kind of unable to be visited. Like North Korea is a closed country. At the time, it probably wasn't very wise to visit Rwanda, but they were doing that. They were going the long way around, and they were up there too. And there were a pair of folks who were DJs out in Miami who had come down, and like just people from different walks of life. And I remember that as I was just chatting with these people, that every single one of them was being unabashedly, unashamedly themselves. They were not holding themselves back. They were not. They were not saying, "Well, because everybody's different than me, I'm going to try and be like all the people around me." And I remember that was the very first time that I had ever considered that all the people around me were just being themselves and being accepted for being themselves. And I was in the middle of people pleasing at that time. I hadn't yet realized, I hadn't yet learned the lesson that I could be loved and honored and accepted for who I am, and was trying to sort of be a chameleon and meld myself in with all these people. Well, guess what? I found myself in a very tight spot there, because it's impossible to meld yourself in with all these people when everybody is different. And I was forced to just be myself. And when that happened, when I just opened up and just was myself and was safe to be myself, and recognized that just being me was good enough, and then these folks all loved and accepted me for who I was. That was an incredibly powerful experience for me. And I realized that I could just continue to do that. And that really helped me to set off on the journey that I'm on today. And so I am elevated, and I ascend toward my highest potential. Every day, I think when I wake up, I think to myself, it's I have this incredible human opportunity. I have this incredible opportunity to make manifest the things that are most important to me in this world, to move forward on the projects that matter to me, to not be stuck in the minutia of life, to handle my business because I'm a grown up, but also to recognize that life itself is an aspirational journey. We go to bed every night more experienced than we wake up. And so why not take that experience that we are gathering automatically and really apply it to the things that are most important to us? And so I am ascending toward my highest potential. And when I look around at the people who surround me, or the people who have gravitated toward me, those people are doing the same thing. The people who have yeeted themselves out of my life, the people who have decided that they don't want anything to do with me, I notice that those folks are growing in different ways. And I'm very happy that they've decided to do that. But ultimately, the folks who gravitate toward me and that I gravitate toward are people who are consistently growing, learning, developing. Not people who are stagnant in one place, but people who go to different places, people who try different things, people who choose and try on new ways of being. Life is life is a journey of ascent toward the ultimate version of who we are born to become. And let's not be in a hurry to become that. Let's not be in a hurry to be that person. Let's enjoy the journey. Let's enjoy where we are right now. Let's recognize that the place that we are right now is a perfect place for us to be, and that we are, as we ascend toward our highest potential, that we can stop and we can look out at the view and we can enjoy where we are, because that is what life is about. We are elevated people. We ascend toward our highest potential. I chose the spire of a skyscraper to represent this elevation because of what an aspirational building that a skyscraper is. The fact is that, architecturally, these things are designed to just reach out and touch the sky, and as they do that, they, to draw our eyes upwards, to draw our eyes from the things which are so close to us and yet so small, to the things which look so small and yet are so big. I remember that there was a time in my life when I was kind of stuck in a career that I didn't like. I was stuck in a job. I had made a job move that hadn't worked out the way that I thought it would, and it was taking up a tremendous amount of my time and my energy and not giving back to me. It wasn't life affirming to me. It wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't even paying my bills the way that it needed to. Like, it wasn't doing the most basic things that a job needed to do, and I was just stuck in it. I was bogged down in the day to day. My world was so small. And a friend of mine said, "Hey, let's take a couple days and let's go up on top of the mountain." And she said, "Mountains are for conquerors. Let's go up to the top of the mountain and just be there for a little bit." And boy, let me tell you, I couldn't afford to go up to the top of that mountain, but I decided I was going to go anyways because, man, I needed it. So we drove up to the top of the mountain with some camping gear, and we set up camp at the top of this mountain. And I remember that I looked out and I could see the town. I could see the town where I worked in from the top of this mountain, and it looked like a little speck. And I knew at that time that my friend was right when she said that mountains are for conquerors. I knew that she was right when she had invited me up there for that camping trip, that she knew exactly what I needed, and that she had been kind and thoughtful enough to think about me and to basically prepare everything for me. So I just had to go. I remember I looked down at that tiny little town, and just knew that down in that tiny little town was my tiny little job and my tiny little responsibilities that seemed so big when I was in them. And when I got that elevated perspective, I realized how little they were in my life. I realized that I could make changes. And indeed, when I got down from that trip, I did make changes. I made very major changes. Ironically, one of which was to change my career such that I was then going up that mountain every single day. I made it my job to go up that mountain and to remind myself daily that the things which had previously seemed so big to me were actually kind of small, and that I had the power and the potential to make changes. And even though it's scary to make changes, that is sometimes what's required in order for us to ascend toward our highest potential. In order for a hot air balloon to rise, it must first shed weight. And in order for us to rise into our highest potential, we also must shed the weight. We must shed the things which are holding us back, which means that we have to recognize what those things are. And so, and as we recognize what those things are, as we recognize the situations that are holding us back, the thought patterns that are holding us back, as we recognize these things, we cannot help but ascend toward our highest potential, because that is what we were born to do. So I am elevated today. You are elevated today as well. Let us together ascend toward our highest potential. The mountains are calling us. The spires are calling us. The sky itself, the universe and the cosmos are calling us to be there and to be joined with the true knowledge of who we really are. Let us open our eyes and let us ascend the stairs one step at a time. Nobody gets up to the top of a spire. Nobody gets up to the top of a tower by just getting up to the top. We get there one step at a time, slowly, methodically, safely. The step at the top is no more dangerous than the step at the bottom. There's still a hand railing there for us to grab onto. And so let us be elevated today. Let us ascend toward our highest potential. Let us lift our eyes up from the mundanity of our day to day and recognize that we are here for so much more. We're going into a weekend, my friends. We're going into an awesome Saturday. It is awesome Saturday soon enough. I'm going to hang around with awesome people. I'm going to do awesome things in awesome places, eat awesome food, and refocus always on what is most important to me. And I know that you will do that as well, because as we go through today, we will recognize that we are elevated people. So let us ascend toward our highest potential. And like I said before, we each and every step of the way is safe. Every step of the way gets us one little bit higher. And so let's review the cards for the week. Let's see what took us here. Let's take a look at what mental things that we had to shift in order to get to this elevated state today. Today is the I am elevated card, but yesterday, why is it that we're elevated? How can we be elevated? How can we be motivated to continue to step up the steps, except that we are energetic, which was with the card of yesterday. Yesterday, we declared that we are energetic, that our vitality inspires rapid action in ourselves and others. Vitality, energy, vitality is a life energy. And so as we affirmed that we are energetic yesterday, that our vitality inspires rapid action, it allows us to be elevated today. Of course, why can we be energetic? How can we be inspired to be energetic except that we know where we're going, which is why we affirmed prior to that on Wednesday that we are determined, that we move intentionally toward our dreams. Unless we know where we are going, and unless we choose to be persistent in getting there, how on earth could we be energetic about anything? The folks that I have found, that I've talked to in life, who are the most depressed are typically the folks who don't have a determination, who don't know where they're going, who haven't yet sat down and done the difficult mental work of just deciding on a destination, and then recognizing that that destination can be changed. And so that determination is wonderful. That intentionality is wonderful. But it helps tremendously when we hang around with people who already have gone where we're going and can point out the path to get there, which is why on Tuesday we affirmed that we are coachable, that we recognize excellence and learn from the best, that we recognize that other people have already gone where we want to go, where we desire to go. And therefore, we seek out those coaches. We seek out those people who are excellent at what they do. I am consistently looking at the statistics of what is working in the lives of the people around me, and insofar as it can be quantified, and then just kind of having expository conversations with the people who are accomplishing the things that I am interested in accomplishing, and already doing it at a high level. Because while I don't want to be a carbon copy of them, I do want to steal what works. Pablo Picasso said that good artists borrow and that great artists steal. And so let us make sure that we steal in life. Let's not that we're stealing things, but that we are stealing the ideas that work. That we are intentionally looking around for the folks who have achieved what we are interested in achieving and are in the process of living the kind of life that we are interested in living. And let's just take their ideas and use them and apply them in our own way. Pablo Picasso said that great artists steal, but that doesn't mean that he ever made a carbon copy of another artist's art. No. What he did really was he just he took the ideas, he stole the ideas, and he added his own creativity to them. And that's what we do. We can never be a carbon copy of somebody else. You're never going to be a carbon copy of me. And why would you want to be? Why would I want to be a carbon copy of you? But I assure you that there are ways that you think that are better than the ways that I think. There are things that you do that are more effective than the practices that I do. And it is my responsibility to notice these things and reappropriate them for my own benefit. Just like it's your responsibility to see the ways that I'm doing things in a way that is where you want to be in life, and then reappropriate them for your own benefit. Of course, in order for us to be coachable, we have to be able to approach these people and to approach ourselves, which is why we affirmed on Tuesday that we are direct, or I'm sorry, we affirmed on Monday that we are direct, that we communicate clearly and honestly. How could we be coachable unless we communicate clearly and honestly with the people around us? Except that we're honest with our intentions, that we're honest with ourselves. When we communicate clearly and honestly with other people and with ourselves, it gives us the opportunity to be coachable, which allows us to determine our path and our steps, which gives us the energy in order to move forward into these things, which elevates us to our highest potential, which ultimately takes us to our awesome Saturday card that we are awesome. So let us recognize our inherent value and worth. And that is the story of our week. So my friends, we are elevated today. So let's ascend toward our highest potential. I will return. To tomorrow, or not tomorrow. I will return on Monday at 9 a.m. in order to go through yet another set of cards. And we will once again affirm really amazing things about ourselves. I have had tremendous personal growth this week. I sincerely hope that you have had that as well. And we're going to go and have yet another, like Sylvia says, a map to guide us through our next week as well. My friends, my beautiful friends, I love you. I care about you. I think you're amazing. I believe in your potential. I believe that you've already been awesome in my life, and you will continue to be awesome. I've observed it. I've seen it. I've watched it. And because of that, I have great faith that we will continue to be elevated, that we will continue to ascend toward our highest potential. Being the person that you dream of is your birthright. And so let us reach out and claim that birthright. Let's just be those people. Let us embody those traits. It just takes a simple decision. And those simple decisions that we make every single day lead us over and over, ever and ever, to more and more beautiful things. So thank you guys so much for being here. It's wonderful to see you here, Lauren and Brenda Jean and Dan. It is wonderful to see you here, Eric. It's great that you came by. It's great. Good morning, Shauna. Good morning, Silk. It is great to see you guys here too. Thank you so much for being here on this Friday. I will return on Monday, once again, 9 a.m. Thank you to those of you who share this broadcast. Thank you to those of you who expand this and bring it to your friends and ultimately expand these messages. Because I believe that if somebody had told me this stuff when I was younger, that I would be a lot further along than I am today. And so let's make sure that we are are consistent about bringing this message to the people around us who really need to hear it. Perhaps by sharing the show, or perhaps just by living an elevated life. I have learned far more from people who were just being than people who were trying to teach me how to do. So thank you so much, Tammy and Ashley, for being here. Also, you guys are amazing. Hope to see you all this weekend. Until then, like I said, I love you and care about you. Believe in you. Think you're amazing. Talk to you again on Monday at 9 a.m. And until then, aloha from paradise.